If you're like me, the idea of ordering food on command to your personal robot probably sounds pretty cool. And if you're like many people, you may have already picked up a smart home tool that can do that and many other tasks simply through talking. For lots of us, the future is now, and that's very convenient. Since Amazon's Echo popularized the virtual assistant AI technology all the way back in late 2014, adoption has exploded. But when something has to listen for you to tell it what to do, when does it stop listening? Can they ever stop listening? Devices like the Alexa or Nest are always on and hear everything. Let's explore the privacy and security components of smart devices. And those are not the only culprits for security. Applications for everyday home devices, think fridges and air conditioners, are under the microscope here too. This is why smart devices are a security nightmare. First, let's examine the different kinds of smart devices on the consumer market today. We can break them down into a couple of categories. Devices that utilize artificial intelligence and language processing, and devices that utilize sensors or other input that is not AI and language processing. In our first category are our smart device nervous systems. Think of the Nests and Alexas that also can control other smart devices as you interact with it. These systems rely on human input to take action, usually in the form of dialogue. To date, there haven't been that many security issues with these kinds of systems, but when there have been, they're bad. The privacy implications of these devices is very interesting, however. Take this example for the Amazon Echo. Checkpoint Software, a cybersecurity industry leader, published security flaws in the device as late as August of 2020. The vulnerabilities allowed Checkpoint researchers to silently install and remove skills and obtain the victim's voice history and personal information, all because of a subdomain misconfiguration that allowed for cross-site scripting. To give credit to Amazon, this vulnerability would require a user to click a link that was crafted by an attacker to initiate the attack on their device. So, some clever social engineering would need to be accomplished as well. And additionally, Amazon routinely audits their library of skills that the Echo can use, and it's fairly rapid to remove malicious ones. In the second category, we have the others, the limbs and organs to be used by the brain. It's not possible for your brain to move your arm if it isn't connected, so this incentivizes you, in the smart device context, to hook up your air conditioner, your fridge, your bank, your doors and lights, and any other data that's useful to the convenience. These kinds of devices are great for tracking your location, reading your heart rate, buying more stuff, or collecting other data that can be used in a productive manner. Much like the blockchain or electric cars, IoT and smart devices are not going away. In fact, they will grow through adoption, possibly rapidly. If you look at any article or paper about the benefits of 5G networking, it will almost inevitably point to the capacity for Internet of Things devices. This, of course, includes your smart home devices. This is why we expect the adoption to continue through the 2020s. Similar to the rate of adoption rise in these devices, so will the conventional uses. Just in the last 5 years, Google and Amazon have added the abilities to play media on the screens of their respective devices, shop at supermarkets, and even use its microphones for security applications, like alerting a security service if there were an intruder. That is incredible. The Echo has more than 100,000 skills. These devices, of course, also integrate with many other smart devices. Echoes and Nests have support for thermostats, calendars, the Philips Hue suite of lights, and can even unlock your front door. These uses are perfectly fine, and obviously expected, and what the device was designed for. There are new skills and actions coming online for these devices every day, but are all of them secure? IoT will be one of the biggest security debacles of the next decade, as networks scramble to further support it and users begin to accept the usage. Each connected device could represent a point of attack and a significant widening of any organization's or private person's attack surface. It gets even more complicated when more diverse types of devices are connected, as they may all require different methods of secure configurations. There's no telling the kinds of potential breaches or botnets we could see in the coming decade as a result of IoT infrastructure. Take the site Shodan.io, for example. If you're in the security space, you probably recognize and maybe even roll your eyes at the mention of it. Shodan.io is basically a search engine for IoT devices. Anyone can search for cameras, industrial control systems, and servers running IoT services that are available on the web. Many companies monitor Shodan.io for their own infrastructure so they can remediate any issues. But of course, this could be problematic and used for reconnaissance by any threat actor as well. There are thousands of cameras that are using default configurations that anyone can log into and monitor the feeds from anywhere in the world. And they are only a few clicks away on Shodan. Maybe this is venturing into privacy more than security, but it will humble you how many things are out there that you could log into with the username and password admin. A better example of IoT security on display is the recent Urgent 11 vulnerabilities that were disclosed for the real-time operating system VxWorks. If you've ever heard of this set of vulnerabilities before, then you must really be a security enthusiast. For the rest of us, let me give you the one-sentence summary. Urgent 11 refers to 11 critical vulnerabilities that were disclosed in VxWorks, an operating system, that can be exploited and take over a device using the network stack because it allows for remote code execution. There's more to it than that, but that's it in one sentence. If you're looking for where this might be, think of something like the operating system in your air conditioner. It's pretty obscure. This operating system is used in millions of industrial control devices, firewalls, printers, and even patient monitors across the globe. And yet, very, very few have heard of it. The exploits disclosed are so severe that they can allow remote code execution by a threat actor to take full control of a system. I don't know about you, but there's no way I want to see an attacker take over an industrial control system or a patient monitor to find out the consequences. And that one compromise is just the beginning. Once complete, a threat actor could subsequently pivot to more endpoints on the network and eventually own large portions of infrastructure. Or even worse, the network's devices could be weaponized to attack other networks in a botnet attack. And yet, according to Armis Security, as of December 2020, 97% of Urgent 11 vulnerable devices remain unpatched. Don't forget, this OS is used in millions of devices. In short, IoT are very vulnerable devices that lack adequate security, and that puts a smile on a malicious actor's face. If you need more evidence, according to researchers at Palo Alto, 41% of attacks exploit device vulnerabilities in IoT. That isn't too good, but if that wasn't enough, the confidentiality of these network communications of these devices is not up to par either. Palo Alto also disclosed in their yearly security report for 2020 that 98% of all IoT device traffic is unencrypted. If data is sent in plain text unencrypted, no hack would be required, just a clever tap in the wire. That could have problems down the line. Sure, maybe your daily heart rate or how much electricity you used in a day isn't that big of a deal. But what if someone could read when you weren't using your power because of a compromised or otherwise unsecured smart meter? Could they draw patterns in your routine and use it against you? Or maybe a government agency with access to similar data? There's many possibilities. Maybe this is a little far-fetched, but the plausibility is still there. Now that we understand how secure or insecure these devices are in their configuration and communication, we wanted to explore what data was collected by smart devices, especially home devices that contain microphones. When it comes to devices with language processing, the surface analysis states from both Google and Amazon that audio is only streamed when the wake word is spoken. But of course, how would the device listen for the wake word if it wasn't listening all the time? Do you have to watch what you say? Well, this is yet to fully unfold. Either way, the data is recorded whether the wake word is spoken or not. Companies that archive this data do allow the user to delete it from an archive, at the cost of the device's learning. But just know that everyday conversations could be part of the mix of commands you say to your smart device. Fortunately, in the few cases that have already occurred when law enforcement has attempted to retrieve data from these devices, the companies so far have denied. Let's just hope it stays that way. Some say that security comes last. And sure, many developers don't really want to spend all their time poking around in their code to find potential vulnerabilities. Security is expensive and an extra step to perform where you're not making any money. Knowing this, maybe this is why IoT can be such a mess when it comes to security. Heck, maybe that's why lots of things are a mess in security. The way to make these devices more inherently secure will have to start in development, where security is built into the culture of the application. It is a bad proposition to think that no one will find the bug or otherwise exploitable issue in code. So, we start at the beginning and go from there. But that is much easier said than done.